Hello everybody, hope you're having a good day. PC Monk here with another Bitcoin analysis. After this disclaimer, that says the content of this channel is for educational purpose only, and it's not a financial advice. Now, there are a couple of ways to discuss about this, patterns or Bitcoin. What's it doing is obviously consolidating in a not very wide range. Yesterday I thought, that it's planning to, make a little bit wider range, come around here, then bounce back up, or maybe come around, around this area and then bounce back down. None of that happened. Essentially, just hold it here. We could see in this chart that I have, and this is a 1 hour chart. Some people say symmetrical triangle, some people say pennant. I don't want to get into that which one is which, but this looks like a good, symmetrical triangle to me too. And these are kind of 50-50. We could go to the upside, we could go to the downside. Now to the upside, really depends on what Bitcoin is trying to do, but you guys could see I even drew these yellow lines to make sure that you guys, catch the triangle that we're talking about. So the triangle starts from here to here, and these are the points. Now, what I want to mention is that the last point, which is this, is yet to be hit, right? So if we want to complete this triangle pattern, we should hit here. If we don't hit here, if you just exit from this area, that means, well, it means this was a symmetrical triangle. We're going to the downside. We could essentially play around here. There's still, I think, 5 hours, 4 hours till the New York market. So we could essentially play around here and then come to the literally the end of this pattern and then finally make a move. That's a possibility. Or we could just make a move anytime right now on the 1 hour, obviously. But right now, the 1 hour, trying to hold up, as you guys could see, every time we hold up, we have a higher low. So allow me to just remove the pattern. I don't think. So I'm talking about this area. You guys could see we made a double bottom here, and then we made another double bottom here, and this red candle essentially retesting the low of this green candle. Let me just zoom in a little bit more. There you go. So yeah, it's retesting the low of this candle, and this candle is essentially the recovery candle or the momentum candle we could call on a 1 hour. So we come all the way, we consolidate around here a little bit. We make these two red candles. We've seen these pattern before, pretty sure. On a 1 hour, usually after these two, we have an upside move. Well, the volume, it really depends. I would like to actually show you guys another one, see if I can find one. Hold on. I actually find a couple, but they were a little bit different in volume. So, I mean, we could see it here, but this one is completely different in volume, as you guys could tell, than this. But usually when we do these kind of, consolidation to the downside with wicks like this, it indicates upside move. I could show you guys maybe around here. You guys could see we had triple, and then it came back down, swept the lows, and then picked it back up. There was a couple more here I could tell you guys, but that's not the point of this video. Anyhow, so if we essentially, like I said, come down from here, then there are a couple of levels we have to lose. The first one is, well, you have to lose this yellow line, which is a triangle, right? And this one didn't even touch it. So in the case of kind of bullish scenario, bullish move coming in, maybe we want to break the high and retest these areas. And after we successfully, regain this high, we could essentially go for this wick or a new high. That's a possibility. Now, to the downside, guys. To the downside, we do need to essentially first there are two wicks. I've selected the extreme for myself, which is this area, but there's this whole area to be retested. And after we retest this area, if it fails to hold, then I would say hello to 31K or even lower around here. But here's what I think. Bitcoin has to hold 30K this week in order to go higher. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you're not. But I think Friday, today, could be a bloody day, and then we could, essentially either either we could just grab the liquidity around here, make a double top, even a little bit higher than the double top, just, swip all of these, I mean, obviously, and then come back down and stop around here. Stop around 31,797. And, over the weekend, complete the sell-off and then lose 30K. So essentially come around this area. It's 29. That would suffice that, this whole move is removed. And on top of that, we are not holding 30K anymore. And, say hello to, 10K maybe. Who knows? I mean, we have to take it level by level. But nonetheless, this symmetrical triangle could play out both ways, and we have to see. So, to the upside, if it wants to play out, I mean, it really depends on the volume too, don't forget. But if everything is good, everything is decent, there's no manipulation, there's no huge volume coming in, usually we break out. We try to test this high, we fail, or don't fail, we come back and retest the low, we come back and retest the resistance that we had. And after that, we pick it back higher. Now, that where it could go, it could also come all the way to 38K around here. And after that, just fit it all away. And then there's huge scenarios. I mean, not huge, a lot of scenarios you could tell. But for us, we just say if this scenario here happens, we retest, we go higher, then that's it. I mean, the retest should not be to the teeth. But they usually, we've seen it happen before. If you guys, keep watching my videos. And yep, that's on this chart. On the other chart, is this chart. This is a little bit different. I want to talk about another pattern right here. So I've seen this pattern before where, we consolidate a little bit. It doesn't matter where we consolidate. So we have this area and then we pump it up. We pump it up a little bit by like 3%. Whoa, holy crap, it is 3% essentially from this closed. So we go for like a 3%, we hold it there, and then we come back down around the same area, as you guys can see. Then we hold it here a little bit, and after that, we go even smaller or lower in volume. We essentially come back down, into the lower side of this rectangle. So I want to remove this red rectangle and use one of these parallel channel. Okay, so we say from here, right? So right here, we drew this one all the way here. I'm gonna just change the theme to outside liquidity. I'm gonna remove it. There you go. So if you're talking about this, right, and this is the green one, which is the one that caused this pump, and then we came back down. So right here, it usually consolidates here, and so that it loses the upper side of the rectangle and comes to the lower side. So as you guys can see, I've marked this with a buy side liquidity volume imbalance right around here. So it essentially loses this area, comes and consolidate in here, and after a little bit more consolidation, we just completely lose this. I even wrote this for myself. Leaving this area could result in a new low, right? Trying to remember my own thoughts. Sometimes I write it on the chart, sometimes I write it on the paper. But that's not the point. The point is, we could see a sell-off today, especially if what I just said plays out. And I think this, I mean, I've seen this a lot, right? I have a couple of pictures. I take pictures of these kind of, stuff. I have a lot of pictures of these. Now, let's jump into the funding rate. Funding rate, you guys could see, is kind of negative. I'm sorry, not negative. It's bearish. See a lot of reds, right? A lot of reds, and Bitcoin is actually neutral. So anything could happen. We don't care about the low or the high funding rate right now. So this is essentially an important part I have to cover today. Now let's remove those. The 25 and the 10, they really don't matter, right? We usually stop where the 50s stop, and which is here, 35,100. Now that's if we want to come and take that. This could be the liquidity of market makers. We don't know whose liquidity is this. We're just going to say if the market wants to come and take it. The downside, 33,100, we got 377, right? Now let's bring this down. Talk about the whole exchanges. Talk about 3 exchanges. Unfortunately, we don't have less than 1 day. But for today, just take a look at 35,100, 1.16 billion. Take a look at 35,800. Sorry, 35,800, 1.40 billion. Let's essentially take a look at the chart. 35,800. Where is that? It's essentially here. So you guys remember I talked about this, right? That we have some sell side liquidity here, but we have more sell side liquidity plus all these stop losses. So essentially, if you come around here, there's going to be 1.40 billion to take, and could happen, could happen. But I mean, this is a lot of liquidity. Where were we? Well, this is a lot of liquidity to take. So I don't think like we could just spike through it. Because when there's a lot of liquidity, the movements are usually slower when there's like lower liquidity, right? I mean, if you take a look at these low liquidity coins, they move like insanely. Like you blink and it's up $10 or it's down $10. But take a look at Bitcoin, you blink and it's still there. So you guys get what I mean. Anyway, to the downside, we do have close to 1 billion, around 32. I mean, 1 billion around 32,851. I would like to take a look at that on the chart after I take a look at this. So around 32,400, we have 1.18, and around 33,000. Let's say 32,000 flat. We do have. Let's just call it 1 billion. Okay. Now let's come back here. We said 32,400. Where is that? So we could see this is 32,000 and this is 32,400. So essentially this big momentum candle, right? This big one, there are a lot, I mean a lot of longers plus buy side liquidity and stop loss to be grabbed here. I mean, I would probably if I was a reckless open along here, why not, right? And I won't close it here. I would like to close it probably when it gets to 40K. Huh? What do you think? So all those late longers and those greedy people are still in their position around, right? So they could be some target for them. And obviously, this wick was too fast. So whoever opened, I mean, there probably are people that open some shorts around here, but could we say they're safe for now? We really have to wait for today at least to, see what happens. But around here, there are some long. Now we know, right? And yep. So with that being said, this is it. Now let's take a look at this one. So this is a heat map. I like to take a look at both of them. So 12 hours on Binance, we do have one cluster, which is 14 million. We have a couple of clusters here too. 16 million, which is the one that's shown in here too. This is the biggest cluster, I guess. And then this is again 24 hours on BTC, multiple exchanges. We can see there's a big cluster around 34,300 now. 34,300 is essentially where I think my mouse is malfunctioning. Just use the other mouse. All right, so I think 34,300 is where I shown in here, right? Near that. Like, maybe with a wick to 34,400, but 34,300 and something. So essentially somewhere around there, right? So it makes sense on this chart. Now, if we continue, um, well, 3 days. 3 days, we do see a lot of spread, right? But nothing heavy. A little bit heavy on the downside, but nothing on the upper side. It doesn't show heavy heavy cluster. They all like all together cumulative longs are heavy, but cluster wise they're like very spread out, right? That makes sense. Hopefully it does. There's a difference, right? Sometimes I say, well, there's a huge cluster in here, and sometimes I say we have a spread here, and there's not a big cluster in between. But right here, we do have a big spread, and there's too big a cluster in between. But this one only worth around 200 million, and I think this one is the big one here. Let's see. Yep, 409. This one is at the 33,591. So these are the liquidity. Now we know that the upside is a little bit lower, and this is 1 week, as you guys could see. The 1 week have a lot of spread to the upside. Not gonna lie, not gonna be easy to grab the upside, but to the downside, there's especially here is kind of empty. So if I think we break 33K or 33K, I'll talk on the chart, but if we break 32K.2, I think we are for dive down all the way to 31K or even 30K. And then we could see this one being taken, and this is this the right one? Yeah. 645 million, only one cluster at 29,526. Mamma mia. So let's jump into the other chart, essentially. At 29K, guys, so essentially at this side, talking about this area, even a little bit lower, I would say. Yeah, talking about this one, talking about this sell side imbalance, this very small one. Yeah, talking about this, I probably have to rearrange this. Give me a second. All right, we're not talking about this. I'm gonna move this to another one. This is where we're talking about. You see here? You see this area? Very completely obvious. We do have a buy side liquidity volume imbalance right here. I just removed the big red so we can see this one. The shift so it just draws it horizontal. There you go. So this is the big one we're talking about. And after that, then after that it's just gonna come lower. But let's hold there. Okay, let's hold. So this is like the most extreme scenario that could happen. And that would be, let's take a look at how much it's gonna drop. Oh, that's gonna be another 13% drop. So if I remove this, right, what do we see here? Did you guys ever heard of a Bart Simpson head pattern where this is the head? If you guys ever watch those cartoons, Simpson, this is the head, and it's building the head, and then kaboom, it just comes back down, something like that. So it gives me that vibe. And keep in mind, if we go past 34.4, then we could see some more happening. Even in here, I've mentioned it. If this stops, even in here, it's clear that if we go above this orange line, which is 34,400, I believe we could retest this area. And then the rest, I've talked about it before. So with that being said, guys, I thought it's going to be a 10 minutes video. It's 17 minutes already. Dixie is kind of showing a little bit weakness to my 2 cents. I think this head and shoulder played out, and right here we could see the weakness with this line right here. This is where the doji happens, and then it with this one candle on the 1 hour, we literally retraced 3 candles, and finally we exited this bullish area, which was the previous day close as well. Now SPX on the other hand, I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening over Middle East right now, especially I think the US essentially hit some Iranian stuff. I don't really follow that much. I'm just following it to know if we're literally in a World War III or not. Other than that, I think it's just noises. Anyway, but if it escalate in the Middle East, I think stock market is gonna continue to sell off, and we could see. I mean, we are seeing. I mean, some decoupling between Bitcoin and SPX. And here on Nasdaq, I've talked about it that we could come here and touch this area, but that didn't happen. We essentially hold it the upper sell side, upper buy side liquidity a little bit, then we completely exited. We tried to hold it, but it got denied on the lower side, and then the sell-off continued. We could essentially see another sell-off coming in today, especially like this. And Dixie right now showing a little bit of weakness, but if it regains this area, if it regains this 106.840, we could see some more upside on Dixie, and if that happens, we could see stock market and everything else going lower. So with that being it, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this video was informative enough, and we'll see what happened yesterday. We'll see what happened today. Again, thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, stay green, and wish you the best. Bye bye.